Thank you. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya tu vaidyakena yopakalattang pravarang muninam Patanjaling pranjaliranatosmi. Now, last time we discussed certain things, you see, which are important to recollect because otherwise um, this Patanjali's system you will be not be able to understand. So the last time one important thing was said that the desires which are in our mind, they are depending upon certain things. They are depending upon, first of all, a cause. There must be a cause for it. And the cause is your gives your result, fructifies as a result, follow. And then there must be the mind where the desires, that is the residence of the desires, the mind. And there must be some support system. That means, you see, for example, if it is a desire concerning lust, there must be a lustful object, you see, around which this desire will form itself. So these four things, and if any of them are absent, then it will not happen. Now, the reason is always there, because Sankhya has said that all this is due to our spiritual blindness, avidya, from which the other things, asmita, raga, dvesha, etc. Asmita means this ego principle. Raga, dvesha, attraction, repulsion, these things are happening. So hetu is already there. So because of this hetu, this results are there. Mind is there. Now the objects must be there, you see, around which they can build up. Now, another thing that next sutra said that in the past or in the future, all things, they exist. They exist, only the time is different. You see, they exist. For example, idea is that if there is a reason for something to have happened, for example, take any history, any event from history. For example, this India's, you see, conquest of India by the Britishers, for example, a recent thing in history. It is not a very distant event. Now, this happened due to, principally due to greed. Greed on one side, and on the other side, there was some weakness in the society. Because of that, it could happen. Now, this greed being a permanent thing, so these things happened in the long past also, before the conquest of India by the Britishers. These things are similar things have happened, you see, and in the future similar things will happen because greed is always present in the human mind. So in some form or other, they're just existing. You see, um, you have to just note it that they're existing because the fundamental principle is there. So they will appear as present in any point of time. That means there is a possibility. So their existence is there, you see. Uh, and that is the idea. So uh, this is being said because of the thing that you see, to establish that the chitta, the mind, it is you see there, according to this system, it is the gunas, the three gunas, they are the cause of everything. So chitta is also a conglomeration of gunas, and chitta is getting your transformed every moment. Then the question is that, and we are passing from life to life, then is it the same chitta? To establish that it is the same chitta, this is being said that though they are, you see, they're transforming, it is the same chitta, just as a case of a human being. A man says that when I was a child, I used to do this, and when I grew up, but you see, physically and mentally, this is different in different points of time, but still a continuity exists. Similarly, the chitta, in case of chitta also, it is like that. It is from life to life, the chitta is going, it is being transformed, but there is a continuity. So now, this this extension of the things in three times, in the past, in the present, and in the future, um, they are being explained in the te vyakta sukshma gunatmanaham. That means they are either vyakta means they are evident, and they are sukshma, that means they are very subtle, and they are composed of gunas. You see, uh, that means the idea is that there is only one uh, pradhana or mula prakriti, you see, from which this vikara, this evolution has started. So, uh, so now the question arises that we are talking about three gunas, and at the same time we are talking about one chitta. How is it? You see, uh, so is chitta is one substance, or it is a conglomeration of substances? So for that, you see, why you are using chitta in the singular, the mind, you see. So for that, the next sutra is that Purinamo Kettat Busturattvam. since the parinama, that means the culmination, is unique, so we are taking that the substance is unique. That is the meaning. You see, that means your this chitta, parinama of the chitta, that means the culmination through different transformations. They are, you see, they are leading to the same thing. Leading to the same thing means because the one of the ideas in this Sankhya Patanjali system is that this chitta will have to pass through many experiences, bhogas, sukha, dukkha, bhoga, and finally it will get apavarga. That means the idea is that I am separate from Prakriti, I have nothing to do with it. That means uh, asserting the Purusha part of it. See, and Prakriti, I am separate from the Prakriti. So that is called apavarga in this system. So till then, it will continue. You see, and that is the so. Now there is you see, these sutras were composed at a time when Buddhism was prevalent in India. So Buddhism, there are in the Hinayana part, there is there the four principal your Buddhist views were prevalent. You see, for the Hinayanis, that means who used to say that they are following the original teachings of Buddha, etc., etc. They were of two types mainly, Vaivhashika and Sautantika. According to Vaivhashikas, the external objects are there, you see. Sautantikas used to say that no external objects, you see, it is, uh, they are you see, something is there outside, and that something is creating an impression on my mind, and that is what we know as your the external object. This is Sautantika. So they were like this. Now there's in the Mahayani side, they went a little farther, you see. Mahayanis are the great vehicle. That means the Hinayanis or Theravadis say that they're corrupt in the sense that they have deformed Buddha's ideas. But actually, you see, if you take an objective view, Mahajanis actually went farther, you see. For example, they you developed Shunyavada and Vijnanavada. Now, in Shunyavada, they are saying that, you see, either the external world, it is real, that is one possibility. Another possibility, it is unreal, third possibility is it is a combination of reality and unreality. And fourth possibility that it is neither real nor unreal. And you see, they are saying, the Srinivadis, that the external world cannot be described as any one of them. So they are calling it void. Shunya, shunya means void. They're calling it void, but they do not mean that it is actually void. It is just this liberated from the four categories. Chatushkoti binirmukta. That is their Shunyavadi's point. And Shankara, though he attacked it, in some way or other, he was, you see, in some form or other, he was saying almost the same thing in another language. Of course, in Shankara's system, the world is not, you see, it is sometimes called Mayavada, but it should be called more correctly Brahmavada. That means Shankara is putting accent on that something is existing. And that something, you see, is there. So Swami Vivekananda, a modern Vedantist, and who tried to explain it to modern men in modern language, he used to say that when Sri Ramakrishna touched him in Dakshineshwar, say, he found that the world around him was being crushed into your molecules and atoms, etc., etc. And finally, the ego is also being pounded. You see. So this was the first experience. And when he went into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, almost 50 months after this, he had the experience that something is really existing, which is not of this, you see, phenomenal world, which is, etc. So in that sense, you see, that was the Shankara's point, that the external world, it is there at one level, but at a higher level, it is not there. You see, that's why he calls it Maya. That means it is cannot be explained sufficiently, but it is there. But there is something untangible and very subtle, which is a higher reality and which englobes everything. That is Brahman. You see, this Brahman, developed by the Advaita system, had its precursor in the principle of Purusha in Sankhya and Yoga. So Sankhya and Yoga, you see, Purusha, though it is in another form, that means each person has a different Purusha, but similar Purusha. A different Purusha in each person, but they're all similar. So that is a Sankhya, you see. And whereas Vedanta goes, you see, in the sense that, you see, this Purusha Brahman, in the sense, it is not it is not non-unique. It is the one without a second. Anyhow, so hmm, uh, uh, so you see, these your sutras of the fourth book of Patanjali, in a subtle way, they are refuting this Shunyavada or the Vijnanavada. Vijnanavada is another principle of Mahayanis, where it is being said that there is nothing but momentary awareness of things. And there is a flow of this momentary awareness. This is Vijnana for them. In the so Kshana Vijnanavada, this is the flow, a momentary awareness of these things, and this is the flow of this, you see. So in these sutras of Patanjali, there is a veiled attempt to refute these things because they are very prevalent in those days. So much prevalent that um, the great philosopher from Peshawar, the original name is Purushapura. So there were two brothers, see, and one of them went to the court of the emperor Vikramaditya of the Gupta dynasty. You see, Vikramaditya is known by various names. He's sometimes called Chandragupta, sometimes Vikramaditya. There are other names also for him. He was a very powerful emperor of India. And in front of him, he described, you see, his theory. And the philosopher was given in those days 300,000 golden coins. The emperor was so charmed by his, you see, elaboration of theory. And with that, they built in the modern Afghanistan area many monasteries, etc., hospitals were built. So anyhow, to denote that at one time, they were very powerful and they were very much respected also here in India. Now, to say that there is no external object present, that it is due to you see, you are seeing it due to your mental imagination, etc. So the the next sutra will point out that chitta, the mind, and the knower of this, the Purusha, actually, they are different things. Say they are different things. Vastu samye chitta bhedat tayor vibhakta panthaha. That means given a single object outside, vastu samye, when you do not change the vastu, the substance is not changed. Since different minds are interacting with the same object, so these two things, the That means one is the knowable and known, other is the knower. Their paths are different. Their paths are different. Hmm. This your in Sankhya Patanjali system, as I have said just now, many purushas are your there. In each person there is a purusha, but these purushas are similar. So, and the chittas, they are also numerous. But at a given point, the external object is one, because the chitta cannot think of two things at the same time. It must at a given point think of one thing only. So there is for any given point for the chitta, there is only one object in front of it. But even then, since chittas are many, so chittas are getting different kinds of your modification. Something you see that is in a match, you can see it is the same your object in front of you, but someone is is happy, someone is totally unhappy. So it is due to the different chittas. Therefore, the those Buddhist philosophers who used to hold that objects are coeval with the chitta. You see, that means you are seeing an object at the same time. So because of your seeing, it is affecting the chitta, the object is there. You see, before and after that, it is not there. You see, such kinds of your these very idealistic theories were propounded in India. Nachaika chitta tantrang vastu tad apramanakang tadaking shat. Since that means it is a question to the Buddhist philosophers. That means when a substance is not dependent just on one chitta, when that particular chitta, for example, it is absent-minded, or it has it has seen but it has forgotten that chitta, then what will happen to the vastu? That means idea is that it is something the whole theory is something, you see, untenable. Now, since Sankhya Patanjali system is saying that jivas are really different, it is this is not Advaita Vedanta, that jivas, though different, but it is ultimately the one with Brahman. It is not that there are different individuals. So different individuals have different purushas, and in the different individuals there are different chittas. But the external object is, for the all purushas, it is the same external object. Therefore, the same substance, due to different chittas, it is being presented to the Purusha in different manners, in the sense that someone is happy, someone is unhappy. This happiness and unhappiness is being reported to the Purusha. Next sutra is saying, Tad uparaga apakshitat chittasya gyata gyatam. The external object requires, external object must your taint the chitta. And the idea here, that is also in Vedanta, this idea that when you are actually grasping an object, what is happening, the chitta takes the color of the object. For the moment, the chitta is like that. When you are looking at a tree very intensively, so your chitta has taken the color of a tree. It is look like you see, so as if chitta is a fluid thing, and chitta is really a fluid thing, and this fluid thing is being colored, that fluid. So certain times your chitta, sometimes it can grasp. When it is jnata, it can grasp the object. Sometimes it cannot grasp the object. For example, you are looking at a tree, just then between the tree and you, a person is passing. And since you are looking at the tree and not at that person, so that person cannot taint your mind. So he will be, for all practical reasons, he will be unknown. You see. Or you are, for example, angling by the side of a pond, trying to catch fish, and you are so absorbed in it that a man passing by is asking you a question, you do not hear anything. So, because the mind requires to be colored by the object, if the mind is not applied there, it will not know. Sada gyata chitta vrittayas tatprobho purushasya aparinamatvat. Now, this chitta vrittis, they are always known to the Purusha, and it is possible because the Purusha does not transform. Purushasya or parinamatvat. Purusha does not transform. Purusha does not take change. So if the Purusha is also taking change, and then you see, sometimes you will know things, sometimes you will not be able to know things. You see. But there is a witness, there is the Lord of the system, the Purusha is there. So since he does not take change, so it is they're all the chitta vrittis, all the modifications of the mind, they are known always. It could not have happened if in the other direction, the Purusha is also changing. For example, you see, you are sitting by the side of a river and the water current is passing on the bed of the river. And if the river bed is also moving, you see, along with, then you see, especially if the motion is at the same rate, then you will not see the water current moving. Something must be stable against which your change must be observed. Natat swabhasang dishyatvat. That means the chitta is not swabhasang. That means saprakasha. It cannot reveal itself because it is an object to be seen. Why the object can be seen? Because at any point of time, you can think of your chitta. You can think of your mind and say that I am happy, I am unhappy, I am frustrated, I am angry. You see, all these things, this is because you can see your chitta. So chitta is a drishya, and something which is seen is never the seer. It is never the seer, it is never it cannot reveal itself. That the chitta looks like something who is intelligent, which is which seems to be sentient even, you say. It is because of the proximity of the Purusha. It is not really, it is all these things are borrowed by the chitta. Eko samaye chubhaya navadharanam. That means at the same time, you cannot you cannot see an object and also can see your mind. You see, that means it cannot be done. Either you are looking at your mind or you are looking at an external object. At any given time, you are observing both, it cannot happen. Because your the chitta cannot be applied both internally and externally at the same time. Yeah. Now, there is another, you see, point. Some philosophers may say that what is the use of imagining that there is a Purusha? About Chitta we are certain, but what is the use of imagining a Purusha? Hmm. If you can say that one Chitta is being influenced by another Chitta, you say, what is the harm in it? Hmm. That is being answered here. Chittantara drishye buddhi buddher ati prasanga smriti sankarascha. Oh. If you say that one chitta is being illumined by another chitta, then you have to say that another chitta is being illumined by another chitta. So this is your, you see, you will not be able to settle anything, because, and if you do like that, that one chitta is being influenced by another chitta by another chitta, like that, there will be a smriti sankara, a mixing in your memory, and no memory will be stable. So that is, so those who do not, you see, accept a fixed principle in the system, say, that means notably Buddhists, they do not, you see, do not accept. The main trouble is that, you see, many questions were asked to Buddha. And you see, many times he used to remain silent. He used not to give an answer. For example, he was asked, so according to you, God does not exist? He answered, have I said so? So according to you, God exists? Again, he answered, have I said so? That means a studied silence over certain questions that has given rise, but Indian mind, they were, you see, prone to philosophizing things. So you say, so many branches appeared in Buddhism because Buddha remained silent on many points, and they wanted, philosophers wanted an answer. And but here and there, peeps even through the words of Buddha that he accepted what would be your Vedantists declare as Brahman. I say. So there is one saying of Buddha that if something which is, if you do not accept something which is non-engendered, which your is not permanent, then how can you have nirvana at all? You see? That means, you see, if This whole world is changing, but there must be something which is not changing. So these are, but Buddha used not to give accent on philosophizing. He used to give accent on, you see, you do something, you practical code of conduct. That was his main point. Is a correct code of conduct, and that will lead to your correct meditation, and through meditation you will get to the truth. That was his idea. So, for example, for example, uh, Buddhists refuse to accept that the question of the jiva, individual jiva surviving your beyond death, you see. But Buddha's own words, for example, the Metta Sutra in the last verse, it is saying that if you go like this, then you will not lie in the womb again. Gabbhaseyam. So that shows that Buddha had this idea that there is, you see, from that means what they called jiva or jivatman. This idea was there in Buddha also. So instead of going through philosophers, one should try to go through the direct words of Buddha. So let us stop here. Any questions? Hello?
No questions, Swamiji, from me. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't know if others have questions.
Okay. All right.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Yes. It is a little abstruse, let me say. This, all these ideas, philosophers' ideas.
Pranam Maharaj.
Yes?
Pranam Maharaj.
Okay.
Pranam Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you.